Well, here we are, the latest in our series of Chester, that's the dog, goes to. And today we finally made it to Napsan Beach. And it's a lovely little bay. There's no one here. And Chester's going to have a quick swim. And we've just arrived, so I haven't worked out the layout of the beach yet. We've kind of think I've got in the middle of it, really. So it goes right down that way. And then there's this little borokai type tree and rock, and then there's another whole bay down here. And Chester is exploring, as he usually does. When he arrives somewhere new, he is ignoring the no trespassing signs, as he usually does. And again, like most of Palawan's beaches, it's white sand, clean sea, quite shallow, not too rough. And then the beach is lined by coconut trees, lots and lots of coconuts up there. There's a few indigenous dwellings underneath the trees, hence the no trespassing signs. And you know, it's never been developed in terms of a resort or a restaurant. I mean, Napsan, you have to pay to go onto the beach. And here we go, Chester's having his, we interrupt this broadcast to bring you Chester having a swim. It's been quite a while since he's been in the sea. We haven't been out very much. He's been staying at home. He's doing it surfing, shaking. He just loves the sea. Good old Chester. So he's explored a bit inland, now he's come back into the sea and there's shake. And I'm sure he'll go off and explore a little bit more. Hello Chester, are you enjoying the beach? Yeah! I love the beach, Daddy! And if you look the other way, just so you can get an idea, I guess it's a bit like Surrey. There's some, you know, long bay with some rocks in the middle of it and some trees. At least you don't have to do the 7-kilometre track like you do at Surrey to get down to the beach. Here it's maybe 1 kilometre maximum on sort of stony outcrop down to the sea. There's a boat out at sea. Might be someone surfing out there, not too sure, and there's some fishing boats down the end and some people. So we're going to walk down there and see what's going on. It's interesting to see, now he's over a year old, how confident he is running in and out of the sea on his own. So on the internet it describes Napsan as a fisherman's beach, and it says you can wander along the beach, see the fishermen's boats and then bringing their catch in. Well, obviously, like most of the other beaches we've been to here in Palawan, they go fishing at night and they bring in the catches at 5, 6 in the morning just as the light is coming up. So the boats are all up on the beach now, and I think this is the tide line along here, so I think the tide is going out, maybe just coming back in. And I assume that they, you know, they went fishing last night and came back in early this morning. Nice to see the boats here. They don't have any lights. It's all made of bamboo, very traditional banker, as the boats are called here. And you can see the fishing nets which Chester's going over. There's a lobster cage at the back there as well, so they probably catch lobsters and crabs. And there's 2 or 3 of these boats hidden under the trees here, away from the sea line, and a few more down at the end there where we're going now. So we've had quite a few days rain, thunderstorms, brownouts in Puerto Princesa. It hasn't been a very enjoyable time the last week or so, and I was not very well. I had a very bad cough and I had diarrhea as well. I gave myself food poisoning, which is not very clever. But I've now been on medication for a week or so, and today was the first day that I felt, come on, let's get up, let's go, let's get out. I had planned to go down to Sabang and stay down there for a few days. My houseboy, who normally comes on Saturday, is going to a birthday party at Napsan, so he asked whether he could work on Wednesday, so that meant I was now free Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. My next visitors will be on Monday. So I thought, oh, good opportunity to go away, and I was trying to work out where to go, where was reasonably close, where had a hotel with rooms near to the beach, where they like Chester, where I haven't been too recently, and Dalian Hotel at Sabang came to the top of my list. I wrote to them last night to see if they had rooms for May for 4 nights, and they wrote back this morning to say they only had deluxe rooms, which were 9,000 pesos a night, including breakfast. So I decided I wasn't going to do that. I thought that was a lot more expensive than the last time I stayed there in September, but when I in fact checked, it was actually 9,500 last time, so it's cheaper. I guess my appreciation of money and how little money I have in my retirement, 50,000 pesos a month, thereabouts, which just pays for the house and the car, made me realise that I can't afford to stay in luxury hotels anymore, and I need to find some of the cheaper ones. And there are lots of cheaper ones, 2,000-3,000 pesos a night, like Ali Mohan, like Napsan, where I stayed last time, the cottage at Napsan, for example. So you just have to look around to find these places. And it reminded me of the old adage of when you're a student, you have no money and lots of time to go and visit places, but you can't afford to go there. Then when you're working, you have money, but you have no time because you're busy working. And then when you're retired, you have lots of time, but again, no money. So here we go. Welcome to life in Palawan, age 62. But the good news is I can still have a good time without spending a lot of money. I also wrote a blog the other day about Tupa Tuesday, lamb, making lamb. And I did some analysis, cost analysis of the cost of the lamb, 2,000 pesos for a piece of lamb. Excuse me, and the cost of stewing beef, 300 pesos. Big difference. And so I realized that if I'm to survive here on the money that I have, then I need to reduce my expenditure. I can see my brother Richard listening to this now and going, oh, hallelujah, he's finally got it. Cut your cloth according to the material that you have, I think is the phrase he uses. The reason that, Filipinos, and for example my Anax, the ones I sponsor, Mia put in her request through her brother for 6 months of money, and it was 50 pesos a day for food, for her snacks, and then 50 pesos for lunch. I give the boys 500 pesos for the two of them to have Jollibee meal after they work for me for 3 hours after they've been at school all day. It's very cheap, and then I go and buy a piece of meat that costs 2,000 pesos and feeds 4 of us because it's imported and it's frozen. So I need to change my lifestyle, and I guess that's where I put in the blog that people get mixed up because they see how cheap it is to live in the Philippines, but they're looking at Filipinos living in the Philippines. They're not looking at American or English people living in the Philippines, living off imported stuff. Now, my brother said this is irrelevant because I stopped a long time ago, but I always say, well, I don't smoke and I don't drink, so my only real pleasure is cooking, eating, going out. And in the last 2 weeks, I don't think I've been out for a meal at all. Before that, I used to go to maybe Rustic Cafe once a week. There's a new place called Tagu I want to go to. But, most of the time I cook at home. So I'm not spending huge amounts of money on food either. I am in relative terms because my budget is 50,000 a month for food, and which is the cost of the car and the house combined, and what my total income is for my pension I'm spending on food, and then I've got to pay for the food, for the car and the house as well on top of that. So obviously I'm spending too much on food, and I can still have a good meal. I just need to choose cheaper items. And again, if I look at the Filipinos, they fill the plate with rice. I gave them bulaleo yesterday, and Joven wanted calamares, and he filled the whole plate with rice, and then he had a few strips of calamari, and Noel had some cabbage and a few bits of beef. So the plate is full, they're going to be full, and yet the cost is going to be very, very low. Whereas I have, a nice piece of lamb And of course I don't have rice, so I don't fill my plate up with that. So I have probably more lamb than I should do. So there you go, food for thought. If you're coming to the Philippines, think about what you're going to eat, where you're going to get it, and how much it's going to cost. Unfortunately, I don't have a cameraman with me today because they're all at college. Kevin and Frithy and Noel are at school, and who was the other one that I asked? Alvin. We're all busy, so it's just me and Chester today, so I can't film the road, but you can see here this is the road down to the beach from the main road. I'll take a couple of shots on the main road. I'll stop and show you up there. Chester's very thirsty. Okay, so this is about a kilometre before you turn off for Napsan beach and go down that gravel track you just saw. And look at this, this is first class quality road, single lane each way, double yellow line down the middle of the road. You can see it's been newly painted, white line showing you where the outside edges of the road are because it's dark at night and there's no lighting on this road. And smooth asphalt surface, not the normal concrete. Hang on a sec, we've got a car. Okay, so that was the new bit of road, and then this is the old bit of road. And you can see the trees are coming down. They're actually working on it at the moment, and they put new crash barriers all the way down the new road as well. But so many of these trees got affected by typhoon Odette. They're also shoring up the bank to prevent further landslides. Some of it's gone over the side of the road already. And the workers literally living beside the road here, working night and day to get this fixed. Putting in concrete walls to hold back the earth. I used to wonder why they had these trees on top of their motorbikes, and then I found out it was to keep the heat off the motorbike, so when they rode home it wasn't too hot. I love the way they put little steps as well so people can climb up into the forest, presuming there's houses behind there as well. Well, as promised, I've stopped off on the way back, and I want you to see this fabulous view. We're about 12 kilometers before the main Puerto Princesa northern road, the sort of fast road into Puerto. We're still on the side road basically that takes you to Napsan, and then the track that takes you down to the beach. And you remember while I was on the beach I predicted that it was going to rain because the clouds were in the mountains. Well, look at the mountains now, completely covered, and the first drops of rain have begun to fall. And in fact I had a text message from Chester, the human, in Manila when I got back to the car, warning me that there's 2 typhoons on the way to Palawan, and he hoped that Chester the dog and I were okay. So thanks very much for that, Chester. As I replied back to you, we're on the beach. We've had a sunny morning, but the clouds are closing in on the mountains. So as usual, TBK weather reporting is as accurate as ever. It's quite easy on this island, really. We either have sun or we have rain. And the second thing I predicted was that Chester would be fast asleep on the way back, and that's correct as well. He's asleep on the back seat. So we just let this fast car. It's another reason why I'm not getting a Toyota Hilux, because they drive on the wrong side of the road and they drive like idiots. And we've just been past a bit of the road where they've been shoring the rock face back. So they use metal sheeting and metal rods driven into the rock to hold it back, to make sure that it doesn't landslide. And for this highly dangerous work, because it means they're climbing up the rock face, It was nice to see all the guys had chinelas or flip-flops on their feet. Good protective equipment. Oh, that sounds like their engine going off. So they must now be drilling into the rock face. So we'll get a move on. Speak to you later.